been 74 years, 74, since the Allies landed at Normandy. The British, the Americans, and yes, the Canadians all landed in Normandy on this very day, 74 years ago. And I would like to take a moment and make a few comments about that. See, roughly 150,000 infantry ground troops hit the beaches. About 23,000 paratroopers jumped in to Normandy. And they jumped in the night before. But, anyway, it was a spectacularly well-conducted amphibious operation because, I mean, the deception plan that Eisenhower created to use Patton to keep the elite German units in Point de Calais, that was brilliant. They created a whole fictional army of just rubber and wooden shit. Wooden tanks, wooden rubber tanks, wooden artillery pieces, phony troops, fake transmissions. That was just a monumental achievement. What's often not stated is that the Germans sucked at both intelligence and counterintelligence. The Enigma was compromised, and they couldn't see that this whole army group was fake. Under Patton was fake. They just couldn't. Anyway, we talk about how great the Germans were at their technological advances, such as the V-2 rocket, the MG-42, the Tiger tank, the Tiger and Panther tank, the Me-262, the jet fighter, the first assault rifle, the Sturmgewehr 40-44, and I mean, but they weren't the best at everything. Anyway, the German defenses were it was just very poorly conducted because, I mean, Rommel was at his wife's birthday party. Hitler was asleep. The whole defense of Normandy was completely fucked up by the Germans. And now some of you may say, oh, the Russians or the Soviets, whatever you want to call them, had already turned the tide at Stalingrad. And, they certainly destroyed any chance Hitler had at conquering the Soviet Union there, but they didn't win the war quite. Because after all, Stalin was threatening to make peace if the Western Allies didn't land in France. And France was possibly Hitler's greatest triumph. In 1940, he just drove through and beat the French in 6 weeks. He conquered Belgium, he conquered Luxembourg, he conquered the Netherlands, and he conquered the mighty France, which had defeated them in World War I. And after that, there was just this huge triumphal procession. And at last, Versailles had been avenged. And that's kind of the whole point of it. Anyway, going on. What most people don't understand, it's like, if Normandy was not decisive, then why did Stalin offer to threaten to make peace with Germany? I mean, come on. Wouldn't Stalin love to have all of Europe stretching from... Wouldn't he love to have communism stretching to the Spanish border? I bet he would. But as we know, that did not happen. And it's like when Rommel said, Erwin Rommel said, stop them at the beachhead within 48 hours if you're going to stop them at all. And the Desert Fox turned out to be right. Nazi Germany, was it the Third Reich, whatever you want to call it, was doomed. And it would surrender exactly 11 months and 3 days later. See, by the end of by the end of July, there were over 1 million troops, over 1.4 million Allied troops in France. By the end of August, there were over 2 million. And that just shows how rapidly things got picked up. And there was a mad dash across France under Patton. But something happened. He ran out of gas. And that's a bit of a doozy, but oh well. I mean, there were so many places. I mean, most people think that Normandy was the big thing, like the D-Day landings and the parachute drops. That was only the beginning. I mean, there was Caen in the British sector. British and Canadians, they had to fight the elite. Panzerlehr, the 12th SS Panzer Division. I mean, my God, that's a literal A-team right there. But, I mean, those were the bad boys of the Wehrmacht and Waffen-SS. But, anyway, there were so many other places, too. Caratan, St. Mary-Glise, Saint-Sauveur, Cherbourg. I mean, the list can just go on and on and on. As I said before, D-Day was only the beginning. I mean, yeah, Omaha was the bloodiest beach by far. And the Americans took it. They also took Utah Beach and Point Du Hoc. And granted, the Canadians had a really rough go of it, had a bit of a rough go of it in spots on Juno, as did. And the British invasions of Golden Sword Beach, they went pretty smoothly. However, once the British and Canadians got inland, that's when the fun really started, because as I said before, they had to face the elite. They basically held while the Americans punched. And, it was a bloodbath. Anyway, if you want to know more about, the Wehrmacht and things like that, you can check, and the Third Reich in general, you can check out my video, How Hitler Saved Europe from Communism. Anyway, so many lives were lost in Normandy, and there was so much killing before that, there was so much killing after that, but really, God bless them all. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who made it back and everyone who didn't. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, please. In peace. Thanks.